So, the developers of Infinity Ward have finally gave us the Call of Duty Modern Warfare trailer. Now, this isn't going to be a video of all the things we already know, because I'm sure there's probably hundreds of Call of Duty YouTubers out there that have already stated all the facts. This is a video about the smaller things, more on the technical side of things, the graphics, and what the implications might be for these developers releasing such a gruesome game. And I guess you could call it a gruesome, more hardcore game in this day and age of, I guess, a generally hard stance on things that aren't politically or socially correct. And now I don't want to get into it, because really when I'm thinking and learning and even doing anything with video games, I don't want to hear anything about politics. I don't want to hear. I don't even like seeing it or any references towards it. And that's just me. I think I could speak for most people, but unfortunately, we're seeing more and more of this getting pushed into games like Call of Duty. Not as much with Call of Duty, more with like Ubisoft games, and it's just annoying. And I hope that in the future, people who support game developers just rule it out. We play games because they're fantasies, and we don't want our realities being put into our fantasies. So I know I'm going to title this video something about ray tracing being in this game. Now, I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to the technical aspects of video games. And so I'm going to read you a little bit of a quote here straight from Charlie Intel. And you might have already read this, but this is about the technical terms that this, if you haven't already heard, you probably have. A new engine is being put into this game. And usually when developers create a new engine, the whole point of that is to give us new technologies to push the graphics and the fidelity, and not even just that, but the way it sounds, feels, and looks. Push all that forward. So what Charlie Intel said, and I don't know if this is what they're saying or if this is what the developers are saying, but Call of Duty Modern Warfare features a new engine delivering an immersive and photorealistic experience. The new technology utilizes the latest advancements in visual engineering, including a physically based material system, allowing for the state-of-the-art photogrammetry. A new hybrid tile-based streaming system, new PBR decal rendering system, world volumetric lighting, 4K HDR, DirectX ray tracing. And it's quoted that it's only on the PC. Now, obviously, it's only on the PC. Consoles don't have ray tracing. It's reported that it's confirmed that the next consoles will have ray tracing. So I'm sure the next Call of Duty will have ray tracing. I just find it super exciting that this technology is already being pushed into Call of Duty. It's the last game that I figured. Spectral rendering delivers thermal heat radiation and infrared identification for both thermal and night vision in-game imaging. The technical investment provides a cutting-edge animation and blend shape system, while the new suite of audio tools support full Dolby Atmos. I think that's how it's pronounced, Dolby Atmos. I have no idea. On supported platforms, along with the latest in-audio simulation effects. Now, I don't know if the simulation effects the audio simulation effects is talking about Sony PlayStation's recent announcement of a whole new 3D audio something coming with the PS4. I guess this is just... So, I don't know if all this that they're listing right here is going to be in the game. They do say it's featured. Call of Duty Modern Warfare features a new engine, but I don't know if they're delivering on all of this. I don't know. I hope ray tracing... I want to see ray tracing pushed forward, because not everyone might not want to... Not everyone wants to admit it, but ray tracing is the future of graphics and fidelity. So this is all really cool, and I have no idea how it's going to impact the game. So that's there. And as we all say, graphics don't make a game, gameplay makes the game, or I think that's how that goes. Now, before I say anything more, I want to let you know that I am a huge fan of Call of Duty. I know on this channel I play games like DayZ, Escape from Tarkov. In reality, I only have 550 subscribers, and I play games on a PC. And while it might seem like that I'm more of I like to play Arma, just like the manly man's game. But this year, it seems different for Call of Duty. And I have a deep love for Call of Duty a lot of console games, Call of Duty, Halo. And Halo's coming to the PC next week. I want to focus this channel around PC games, and more specifically the hardcore games. But I like all the games. I like all the games. I don't like MOBAs. I like all first-person hardcore games and quick, fast Call of Duty Battlefield-ish games. I love them all. So while this channel is going to be focused around hardcore first-person shooters, I want these other games to dip into, because they're super exciting. I love these games, and they push graphics forward, and the indie games that I play, the hardcore indie games that I play, push the industry forward. Now, I also love the Call of Duty universe, and I wanted to point out, if you didn't know, that this game is not exactly Modern Warfare. They're using the Modern Warfare and Captain Price and probably more characters from the original Modern Warfare games as kind of like a marketing point. It's not even the same voice actor for Captain Price, and I liked Modern Warfare, but I wasn't that invested in it back in the day to really care that this isn't exactly the same Modern Warfare. It seems like they're going for a smaller scale, but at the same time a greater scale. So it's more or less less of the Hollywood flick theme to the video game and more of a realistic sense. And I really like the fact that they're going for special operations, because I'm really interested in that type of stuff. And Call of Duty has been more or less, you're the Marine, you're the one that's gonna go kill Osama bin Vladimir, whoever, whatever. Modern Warfare, Russia invades America. It's kind of more of a small scale, realistic terrorist type of thing. And this is kind of pushing the point of the other part of this video, which is the implications of what this game is trying to do. And I just love the fact that they're doing this, because they are using modern day culture and putting it into a video game. And Call of Duty in the past has gotten in a little bit of hot water, and a lot of other games, for even going remotely in the past and using things of the past that were sensitive, just having that in their game. But now they're taking it to a whole new level. They're putting modern day troubles into a video game, and that hasn't been explored much in the video game industry. It's usually like really bad things that have happened in the past, like the Holocaust, and just really bad things like that, and having it into a video game, or the Chernobyl disaster with Stalker or whatever. Now, the big question: a modern game with modern issues. How is that going to affect the gaming industry, and in reality, done on purpose or not, the entire world? You'll think back only a couple years ago to Modern Warfare 2 with that airport mission, and I'm sure other YouTubers have talked about this, but we're going in depth here. How that influenced the entire world. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone and their moms, especially their moms, were talking about it, literally this time. This went up to government levels. The government was considering putting restrictions on games, and that game was banned in several countries. And I think, especially the more odd countries out there, the smaller countries, this game was banned. This game was banned in countries. And 10 years later, we're in a much more... Everyone gets hurt much more easily now, unfortunately. And if this was in 10 years ago, it wasn't like that. The world has changed in 10 years. The internet has become more accessible in 10 years. Smartphones, you're posting yourself on social media every day. The world's changed, and this game is going to be a lot worse than that Modern Warfare 2 scene, that unrealistic looking arcade-ish game. And this game, again, it's going to be much more realistic. It's going to have that realism feel. The game's at a 1-to-1 ratio. It's going to feel real. I guess I didn't explain about the 1-to-1 ratio crap. It's exciting how realistic this game is going, but when you're putting all these highly emotional, people are dying in this game. Civil people like you and me, regular people, not soldiers, regular people. I mean, you saw that woman jump up on top of the car and gun whoever was in that car down, and you saw, I even saw there was a dead kid in the trailer. I don't think anyone pointed that out, and I don't think they want to show that in the trailer, because it would probably... they don't want to spark all this attention now. They want the game to come out, spark all this attention. And I don't know if this is... I know they don't want to show that in the trailer, but I don't know if they want this game to spark media attention. I think they probably do, but at the same time, when this game gets banned in other countries, which it will, it's gonna be a huge hole in their pocket. I mean, even banning, like Germany, for example. I think Germany has a history of banning games, especially World War II games, with Nazi symbols or whatever. And I think Black Ops 1, they had to release a whole different version of it for the zombies, because in Kino der Toten there were Nazi symbols, and I'm not sure if that's true. I'm pretty sure it's true. No, it is true. I remember watching videos. It wasn't they replaced the swastika with the plus symbol. I always call it the plus symbol, but it's the German symbol. I have no idea what it stands for. So I think that for the first time in a long time, we need to... I hate saying this, we need to round our hands together and clap for the big eggheads over at Activision and Infinity Ward for, lack of a better term, growing a pair and diving headfirst into unexplored territory of gaming. I completely thought the indie game industry was going to get in this more gruesome modern culture shootings, just terrible massacres. But I guess not, and I don't even know really what to say. I don't even want to say that I want to be playing a game with this in it, but at the same time, it needs to happen. It's going to happen eventually. Some games can have it in it. I don't know how far Call of Duty is going to push that forward, but it's going to spark controversy. They know that. They've said that. Charlie Intel's reported it. It's going to spark controversy. It's based around, and I don't think it's so much based off of several individuals who are just going to places and doing this kind of like a school shooting. It's more, I think, terrorism. And we've seen a little bit of that with Rainbow Six, but this looks a lot more grounded, a lot more gruesome. Something that's just, it's shining, illuminating with realism. Something that's believable. And that's also another uncharted place with Call of Duty. They don't really have any realistic games. I guess you could consider the World War Call of Duty semi-real. It's based off of a real thing, but this kind of reminds me of some Tom Clancy book stuff. He writes a lot of books that aren't exactly real, but very, very plausible, like The Sum of All Fears, with the terrorists getting the nuke off of the plane that crashed years before and nuking a city with them, with the nuke they found. It's realistic. It's something that can and surprisingly hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. And it seems like that's where Call of Duty's headed. And maybe it's a lot more realistic than we think. Because you think of Modern Warfare 3 and obviously when you look at gameplay, it's an arcade game. I mean, you can't have 30 people shooting at you at once and live. And the theme of that game was also very just improbable. It was World War 3 in Modern Warfare, but there was just so many things going on in that game. It was kind of hard to keep up with. This, though, I wonder if they're going more for the war on terrorism. The war on terrorism was started, I think, right after 9/11 in 2001, and with all the coalitions and invasion of Iraq. I wonder if it's going to be a lot more grounded like that, or if it's going for a lot more Rainbow Six. Terrorists are popping up all across the world for some reason or another. Something less realistic, but nonetheless something that could easily happen tomorrow. We'll see. It's a very interesting thing to think about, and the implications are unlimited, and the company know that. But I guarantee you, if this is something that's just new to eyes, it's going to shake up the industry and probably make them a lot of money. And I think that's where they're coming from. I think they know this is going to shake people up, and they're going to make money off of it. And I don't think that next year's Call of Duty Black Ops, when it comes out, I know that Sledgehammer Games just dropped because they don't have their crap in order. But I think that next year's game will probably be a little bit more lighthearted, and apparently it's based in the Cold War, so it's in the past and probably a little bit more serious. Well, I don't want to say more serious. This is probably going to be the most serious Call of Duty yet this year, but I don't know. I'm not even going to talk about Call of 2020. So it's funny that as I'm making this video, there's already articles popping up and people on Twitter just losing their minds about the fact that this game is going to be horrific. This game is going to be horrific. Here's a quote from Dean. "I'm not a book burner or a game burner. In 30 years of writing about games, I've never said anything like this. I'm raising the question for this one, and I'm saying that they should drop these scenes. I'm flagging this for parents to be aware of another no Russian," in quotes. So this is perfect. This is, the game hasn't even come out. We haven't even seen anything too terrible yet. In the trailer, there was a couple dead people. Someone shooting through someone's car window. You didn't even get to see the person in the car. The windows were tinted. And I think it's smart that Activision's doing that because they don't want this game to be banned in countries before they can sell them to them. Good job, Activision. So these questions are already being asked before the game is even out. I can already see. It's like I'm looking at Bitcoin and the price rising. I can already see the future of what this game has and how this is going to affect the entire industry as a whole. But I think we're getting a little bit too deep into this. We just gotta wait and see what happens. It's exciting, and I hope that this game ends up being just a kick-ass game, game for lack of a better term. So we've talked about the graphics, we've talked about some of the implications that this game might face, which is, technically speaking, unlimited. This game can run into unlimited implications. And I guess one last note on that, I really hope that this game doesn't drive another war on games where everyone's talking about, game, and it used to be movies before Call of Duty. It used to be movies affected kids and violence, but then it turned to games, and all this was pointed towards school shootings. I hope that it doesn't drive another massive campaign for the government to step in and regulate some of these things. That would just be terrible. That would be terrible. But moving beyond that, there's still a couple more things to talk about with this upcoming Modern Warfare game. I've been a fan of the Call of Duty series for a long time, ever since Call of Duty 3, not Black Ops 3, not Modern Warfare 3. I mean, the original 2006 World War II Call of Duty 3. I only played the campaign. The Call of Duty started out as a campaign game for me. I didn't have internet. I didn't have internet until I was 11, but I played with bots, and you can't even play with bots in Call of Duty 3. You had to have an internet connection. So this game, from what we're hearing, is taking a huge step away from the classic, way of playing Call of Duty. And it's weird because they're saying it's returning to traditional multiplayer, but let's get a little bit of an example here. The game's on a 1-to-1 aspect ratio. Now, if you don't know what that means, it means that, so in a regular, let's say all the Call of Duty games that have ever existed, the worlds have been a lot smaller. They might seem real and realistic to you, but they're actually a lot smaller, or a lot bigger. Well, no, sorry. A lot smaller than what they actually should be. For example, if you run across the road, it's going to take you seconds in real life. In Call of Duty, it's going to take you milliseconds to run. It's going to take you less than a second to run across the road. It's going to take you less than a couple, maybe 15 seconds to cross an entire map in Call of Duty. But this Call of Duty is doing it differently. They're on a 1-to-1 aspect ratio, which means it's identical to the length it would be in real life and the amount of time it takes to travel from one place to another. It's identical. And I'm not sure how many other modern day games do this. Bigger, more realistic games like Arma. I don't think Battlefield does it. For some reason, Arma is the only one I can think about right now. And if you don't know what Arma is, it's a realistic military shooter there, and they have versions of it that are sold to the military for real use with our soldiers. Well, I don't know about our soldiers, but other militaries in the world. But this is huge. This is weird. Call of Duty is not even going to feel the same. I don't think it's going to feel the same because I play games that are built on 1-to-1 aspect ratio, and they are a lot slower paced games, and I don't think Call of Duty is necessarily getting slower. So I'm not sure if it's going to be just the campaign and co-op, co-op, that's going to be built on this 1-to-1 aspect ratio, or if it's because the multiplayer in Call of Duty is always really fast, and I think it would just be completely different and also kind of awesome if they changed the formula of it, right? Making it a little bit more drawn out and tactical. And this game is already looking kind of like Ghost Recon, their new game coming, which I'm also excited for. It's just a lot more tactical and hardcore, and you have to actually think about your decisions. And that's my crap, man. That's the type of games I like to play. I play Tarkov, I play Arma, I play DayZ. That's my type of stuff. And I play, normal, regular arcadey games like Call of Duty and Battlefield and Halo. I guess you could also call it competitive. I like competitive games, and for the majority, I play these hardcore games which aren't that competitive, and more or less, you have to put time and thought into everything you're doing. So that's cool. 1-to-1 aspect ratio. I guess if you're standing in a hallway with... I think Jack Frags made this example. If you're standing in a hallway or a staircase and you have other soldiers behind you, it's not going to be like regular Call of Duty where you can feel like you can just run past them and run up the rest of the staircase. You're going to feel really tight in there. It's not going to feel like you can just pass them because it's realistic. It's going to feel realistic. The world's going to be a lot bigger and smaller in different ways. It's going to be like real life. It's awesome. The very last thing I wanted to talk about is how this game is going to be a landmark for Call of Duty and maybe the entire gaming industry. Not only is this game going to be a lot more brutal with its storytelling and how what the game is based around, it's also going to be the last Call of Duty before the next generation console comes out. Now that's a big thing because this last generation for Call of Duty has been a very, very rough one. It was the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 that had the most, that's where the praise of Call of Duty came from. And this entire last generation has been, at the beginning it was about trying to improve and change the way that Call of Duty felt, right? Advanced Warfare started it. It tried to change the way that Call of Duty worked, and this entire last generation, I don't know if you noticed this, but it's all been non-modern. There's been no modern Call of Duty this generation. World War II is in the past, and the rest of it's been futuristic. And the futuristic stuff tried to change Call of Duty, and it ultimately failed for Call of Duty, but they've still made their money. That doesn't last very long until no one's playing the game anymore. So they're trying to change, and it's really cool because the last generation, at the very end of the last generation, which was the PlayStation 3, there was no innovation. But at the very beginning of I guess I should have called it the last generation, but this at the beginning of this Xbox One and PlayStation 4 age, they tried to innovate, but it failed. And now they're trying to innovate again at the very end of the generation. And we'll see how this works. I think it's going to work out great, and we'll see how different this game is. I hope it's really different from regular Call of Duty. And also, I hope the multiplayer keeps its competitivity, because I have other games out there that I like to play that are hardcore. I don't want to lose all the hardcore games. I mean, all the arcade games. And in terms of graphical fidelity, this is the last Call of Duty that is going to look like this. I know that, so maybe especially on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, it's going to look different from PC. I hope it looks a lot different on PC, because if it's usually what most studios do is they, on their last game for the generation, they like to up the graphics on the PC to give you a taste of what it's going to feel like on next generation. And they already said all these new things that this engine is incorporating, and you better believe that this is because new consoles are coming out next year. This is all for this new engine is because new consoles are coming out next year, and they really should have released a whole brand new engine for the beginning of this Xbox One and PS4 generation, because of the recent Call of Duties don't look that good, in my opinion. They all look the same. Call of Duty Ghosts, I think, had a tiny engine upgrade, but what was that about fish? If you remember that was pretty funny. So this is big leap forward. This is a big landmark, and we'll see how this changes the industry, and how this if it changes the industry. Maybe all these things that they're hyping us up for, it's not going to change anything. But I'm personally, as a longtime fan of Call of Duty, I'm really excited to see what they do and how this affects everything and everyone. And by the looks of it, people are already losing their minds on Twitter. So, and the game it's only released a trailer and a couple statements. Really exciting news. I think I'll cover more of this game as more information comes out. If anyone's still watching the video who watches my Escape from Tarkov content, I haven't been uploading that much recently because I'm just I'm in my cycles with Tarkov, and especially now that the channel is kind of growing a little bit in the past couple weeks, I really should be uploading more content and keeping on the trend while it's still up there. Kind of what I found is that some YouTubers who only upload one type of content of a game, like Escape from Tarkov, kind of me, and DayZ for a while, their entire community gets based around that one game, and I really don't want to be like that. I used to kind of want to be like that, but then games evolve, and then those people get left behind. I don't want to be left behind when Escape from Tarkov dies. You know, you have all those big Call of Duty YouTubers who just straight up died because, I mean, they didn't die physically, but their channels died because they were stuck on Call of Duty. And now, as much as everyone wants to hate on Allier, he is the biggest example of someone who's just so talented in terms of knowing exactly what to do and when to do it, because Call of Duty was his thing. And as soon as Call of Duty started going downhill, he took the challenge and started uploading other content, and I'm sure so many people, including me, don't watch him anymore. But if he would have stuck with Call of Duty, I still guarantee you I wouldn't have been watching him. So I don't want to be stuck in Tarkov. I want to start expanding to other games, and I think I'm still going to upload Tarkov videos. I'm still going to upload hardcore gaming videos, but I also want to start covering these future games because the industry is in such a weird spot right now, and it's super exciting. I'm super excited about it. I almost like sitting on my when I'm not at school or whatever doing other things. I like sitting on my computer and doing more research on this type of stuff and the gaming industry and cryptocurrency and learning other things rather than playing games. But I still play a lot of games, don't get me wrong. So I think that's it for today. I'm super excited about the future of everything, and I'll be uploading more videos of Tarkov and Call of Duty as more news comes, and other games that I'm excited for. Ghost Recon, Halo on PC next week. That's amazing. Super excited. Yep, we'll get more of that in soon, and we'll see you next time.
The rules have changed. There's a fine line between right and wrong. And somewhere in the shadows, they send us in to find it.
Watcher to 6 actual. Target is in the main house. You have execute authority.
Bravo 6. Going dark.
Stand clear!
Victor 6-4, green light.
Chemical weapons are now in the wild.
Foreman copies up.
Guys, hostiles assaulted civilians.
Get to safety, go!
We get dirty, and the world stays clean. That's the mission.
Who's your team?
Some old comrades.